Next, it's out of the frying pan into the fire dragon.
All right, this is going to be fun because we have an ancient weapon myth that I think is awesome.
All right, what is it?
It's called the fire dragon. Now, this is from 14th century China and rumored to be the very first two-stage rocket.
All right, I know this one. It's supposedly a fairly long tube with a dragon head on the end. And according to legend, it had rockets on the outside that propelled it up into the air. Halfway through the flight, the second weapon stage activates and rocket arrows come shooting out of the mouth.
All right, so then the kicker is nobody knows for sure if this thing worked?
Exactly. The evidence is really, really poor, so it's up to us to test it.
Roaring to life in 14th century China, the fire dragon was supposedly the world's first two-stage rocket missile. Stage 1 used 4 rockets to get airborne. Stage 2 would then fire off 10 rocket arrows directly towards its target. But is this ancient anecdote accurate, or is this myth going down?
All right, so since this rocket is a two-stage rocket, I say we test it in 2 stages.
Go on.
All right, first stage, we gotta see if this rocket design is aerodynamic enough to actually fly straight.
Look, I gotta say right off the bat, I highly doubt that this thing's gonna fly straight. If you look at the drawing, it doesn't look aerodynamic at all.
Okay, well then why don't we make a miniature version, take it to NASA and see if it is aerodynamic. And then we'll move on to see if we get rocket-powered arrows to fly out of its mouth mid-flight.
I love it.
I've been doing a little bit of research on the fire dragon weapon, and all the historical drawings look pretty consistent. There's 4 booster rockets on the outside and an open-mouthed dragon head that spits out the arrows inside. And then there's sort of a tail that makes the fins. So I'm going to make the fire dragon rocket in small scale, take it to the NASA wind tunnel, and see if it even has a chance of flying straight. And if it doesn't, then we'll make a couple modifications until it does.
Because historical pictures can be more propaganda than precision,
Not a dragon yet.
Kari's starting by sculpting the ancient drawings in scale.
Retreat, they have a fire dragon.
She'll then use this model to see if the mythical missile could ever get off the ground in the first place.
One arrow-breathing fire dragon.
And in case not, she's also built a backup.
I made an arrow-breathing fire dragon based on the historical drawings, but because it's not the most aerodynamic shape, I also modified a head and made it a little more simple so that when we take this to NASA, if this isn't going to fly straight, we have some alternatives.
With the 2 creations carved out, let the rocket science commence.
Ready to go back into the wind tunnel?
NASA and dragon seems like an odd mix, doesn't it?
Oh, you'll see. So we have here Kari's traditional fire dragon, exactly as depicted in all the diagrams. We've got it set up here in the wind tunnel. Spin up the wind tunnel to 25 miles per hour, and if it starts to turn and does not self-correct back to straight, then we'll know we're not stable.
This is test 1, lateral stability of the arrow-breathing fire dragon. Go ahead, turn on the wind.
Under the watchful eye of senior scientist Steve Smith, the wind winds up. And then...
Okay, so if I poke at it, we'll see how it diverges. Whoa.
Well, that's really not stable.
Yep, a stable rocket won't budge when given a nudge. By flipping full circle, the ancient fire dragon design is an aerodynamic disaster. So it's on to Kari's plan B.
Okay, new head.
New head.
Where thanks to some simple aerodynamic encouragement,
Internal motor.
Like it.
the mythical missile can still get fired up yet.
All right, round 2. This is more aerodynamic, hopefully. Arrow-breathing fire dragon with fins and modified head. Go ahead, start up the wind.
With the wind at speed, Steve knocks her up.
Yeah, that's really stable.
That's great.
And this time, the rocket immediately bounces back. A clear sign that this dragon is durable.
I think we have a design. So we've had great success in the wind tunnel. We have a stable design. Now, yeah, I know it doesn't look exactly like the drawings, but believe you me, if you saw this flying over the horizon, spitting arrows at you, you would call this an arrow-breathing dragon.
So they have a design in theory. But what about in practice?
So we're here at the New Jerusalem airport, to see which design flies best. Now, obviously, the ancient one didn't do so well in the wind tunnel, but the new design did pretty awesome. So, it's time to see how they fly in the real world with actual rocket power.
Yep, before the guys focus on the rocket's second stage warhead,
Okay, I'm ready, fire it!
they first want to confirm that the ancient dragon can't fly,
All right, this should be interesting.
while their modified miniature can.
All right, Fire Dragon is set. Let's see if he flies.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Well, I think that would probably kill your own army.
Having a missile land back on the launch pad is not what you'd call ideal. So it's onwards and hopefully upwards with their doctored design.
All right, this is modified Fire Dragon. You ready?
I'm ready, do it.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1, firing.
Oh, yeah! That was beautiful.
Holy moly, that thing was gone.
The difference couldn't be more extreme. As one small-scale rocket does the twist, the other shoots for the moon, just as NASA predicted.
I think we've got a design for full scale.
And while it's true that the second stage warhead has yet to get a look in, it's definitely a case of so far, so good.
Now, when we left NASA, I was feeling pretty good about this rocket design. But you know what? We got 1,500 feet. You know what that means? That means we're ready to go full scale. Let our enemies beware. The MythBusters have a fire dragon.
The ancient fire dragon had a wind tunnel wipeout,
That's really not stable.
but their modified missile was a streamlined sensation.
I think we have a design.
So what's next?
All right, so now it's time to focus on this mythical second stage of the Fire Dragon.
Yeah, supposedly mid-flight, 10 rocket arrows started shooting out of the dragon's mouth.
Yeah, well, there's 3 things we have to figure out. 1, design. How do we grip the arrows inside of the body to make sure they can still fire out accurately? 2, timing. How do we get all 10 arrows to fire on cue? And 3, size. How big is this thing gonna be?
All right, well, I have an idea for an arrow containment unit and a timed fuse system, but I'm not really sure about the size.
I think they have to be pretty big because we have to accommodate a 3-foot arrow plus fuses and the first stage of the rocket. So I think we're actually talking about a 6-foot Fire Dragon rockets. We're gonna have to go out to the desert to fire these off.
Sounds good to me.
With the history books no help for the mythical second stage, the guys have to tackle this part from scratch as they redesign and retime their ancient wartime weapon full scale. Or at least Tory does.
I'm gonna be working on the ignition system. Now, this isn't gonna be an easy task. What I need to do is get all 10 rocket-powered arrows to fire out right as the shuttle is coming down upon the approaching army.
Tory's first step for this second stage is to turn the arrows into rocket arrows.
All right.
Then he comes over all a quiver.
What I'm working on right now is the quiver that's gonna hold the rocket-powered arrows. There's gonna be 10 of them, and they're gonna slip inside the Fire Dragon. We don't want all 10 arrows just bouncing around as it's going on its flight.
Although it looks more Gatling gun than arrow holder,
Instead of bullets, it's shooting arrows.
it's this clever quiver that should give the arrows a degree of accuracy, provided that they even ignite.
Now, for these Fire Dragons to be successful, the second stage has to work. So my plan right now is I'm taking 5 rockets, and I filled the nozzles with black powder, and then I'm taking this fuse, and I'm going to light it and see if that ignites the black powder in the nozzle to get the rockets that are attached to arrows to fire.
And once relocated to the bunker, it's time to do just that.
God, I hope this works. All right, you ready? This is second stage of Fire Dragon test. Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
It may not look like it, but this test could not have gone better. The fuse system was a blast, igniting all arrows on cue. And the quiver support let those arrows fly straight and true.
So the ignition system for the second stage of the Fire Dragon worked perfectly. And the best part is, the arrows embedded themselves in the plywood behind us. So that means we have some lethal rocket-powered arrows. I think all we have to do now is get the timing from the first stage to the second stage perfect, and it's time to go to the desert.
Tori's right. With the second stage firing on all cylinders, next, the guys need to up the ante.
I love it out here.
Here comes the Mongolian army. Let's hit them with the fire dragon.
We've come out to the Mojave Desert to test our fire dragon myth. Now, I've taken my small-scale fire dragon, which worked great in NASA and flew straight, and
Brought it to full scale.
Yep, it's now 6 feet of pure rocket power.
All right, launch site's complete.
But before any missile mayhem, there's some timer testing to be done.
Now, one challenge that we're faced with is figuring out when the second stage is gonna happen. So what we're gonna do is fire one of these without a second stage. See how long it goes? Once we know that, then we can cut our fuse so that our second stage happens halfway through the flight.
Correct timing of the second stage is crucial. Too short a fuse, and the arrows will go nowhere fast. Too long a fuse, and they'll be just as inept. The butter zone is the middle. When the missile has reached its apex, the second stage can deliver its payload at full potential. But how long to reach apex?
All right, so this is Fire Dragon test fire to see how long it flies for. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, fire. Fire Dragon is no joke. Boom, hit, stop. Stop the timer.
12 seconds.
That's perfect. So the first stage of the Fire Dragon flew for 12 seconds and it flew straight. Now it's time to work on the second stage. Now we want that to happen in the middle of its flight. So 6 seconds after it launches, the fire arrows need to start shooting out of its mouth. So I need to cut a fuse. So that happens at exactly 6 seconds. This is gonna be awesome. Fire.
Yep, now they know the fuse time, the guys can at last put the second stage to a proof of concept test. So with a new Dragon, a 10 rocket arrow warhead, and a 6-second fuse,
Fire Dragon.
it's all set for the Stage 2 showdown.
All right, now listen, I need you to fly into the air, and at 6 seconds, I need you to start shooting your fire arrows out of your mouth. All right, you got that? Don't make me look stupid.
All right, so this is 10 live rocket arrows inside of the Fire Dragon.
in 3, 2, 1. Yeah!
Whoa!
Houston, we have a problem.
Everything blew out.
Wow!
It blew out.
Now that was an unsuccessful launch. Now looking at the high speed, it looks like the engine actually broke free of the mount and it actually blasted up through the tube of the Fire Dragon, never igniting the fire arrows. So we're gonna reset and see if we can get the second stage to work. All right, round 2. Let's hope it works this time.
Okay, this is rocket test fully loaded with arrows. In 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Fins blew off. I don't know about that distance, but it looked like the rig worked.
Yeah! No, the fuses work perfectly, man!
It wasn't a textbook test, but it was mission accomplished. Moments after launch, the stabilizing fins fell off, sending the rocket spinning. But in spite of this, the second stage ignited on cue, and the rocket arrows fired. And that's enough to take this myth into battle.
Even with this crazy wind and the fins breaking off, we still had success. The second stage worked.
Yeah, you know, everything is basically working. We just need to make a few tweaks. I say we go back to the shop, figure that out, and make a whole bunch more.
And then we can come back here and go to war.
Yeah!
In the middle of the Mojave Desert, the MythBusters missile has delivered its payload.
So the proof of concept worked. All 10 rocket arrows came out of the missile mid-launch. Now what?
We ramp it up. We build 10 Fire Dragons, take them back out to the desert, and have a real-world ballistics battle.
All right, but before we have an all-out launch, let's fire one rocket arrow from the ground and see how far it flies.
Yeah, that's a great idea because a rocket arrow would have been the most advanced technology of its time. So in order to move on to the next weapon, you would have to beat the old technology.
Sounds great.
Sounds like we have a lot of building to do.
Yep, with a dozen dragons to deliver, the guys divide and conquer as Grant preps the arrows,
Raining death from above.
Tory the fuses,
Oh, this is gonna be so awesome.
and Kari the dragon heads.
Now, back in the day of the fire dragon, they probably had lots of artisans to make these heads. We just got me. So I'm gonna vacuum form these because we need 10.
And once all the parts are assembled, the production line can begin.
All right, so to execute this experiment, we've got a veritable fire dragon factory happening here. We've got to get all of our fire dragon bodies built. We've got to glue 100 rockets to 100 arrows. We've got to get those put into our rocket holding tubes and get those tubes glued into the fire dragon bodies. And then at the very end, we've got to decorate everything. We've got a big job ahead of us.
It sure is a big job, but a job that's made easier by using modern materials.
So with vacuum-formed dragon heads and hobby rocket motors, we are obviously not using 14th century technology. However, with these modern materials, we are only altering two things. One, how quickly we can assemble these dragons, and with these modern day rockets, they're a lot safer. But for everything else, like thrust, weight, center of gravity, there's no difference with our 21st century components.
In other words, their fire dragons are realistic. What's more, they're also complete.
Dude, I think we're done. These look great.
Let's go to the desert.
All right, let's go launch the fire dragon.
Back in the middle of nowhere, the guys start by building a firing range.
Okay, that is 100 yards.
Because first up are the distance tests,
You pack enough water?
comparing a regular rocket arrow with a fire dragon warhead.
This is weird. It's like we're the last couple on Earth.
And with the range maxed out,
750 yards.
the guys retreat to the launch pad.
All right, so this is a single rocket arrow.
All right, let's see how far this goes by itself.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, those things.
Skywriting a little bit, and now it's falling to the earth.
Yes, what goes up must come down, 650 yards away. And that means it's time to unleash the beast.
So what we're looking for here is to have the first stage of this two-stage rocket fire off straight and stable. And then here, about midway through its flight, it deploys its second stage in the form of 10 fire arrows. And the rocket arrows have to land at least here, 750 yards away from the start, thus extending the range of the arrows for this to be a viable weapon in battle.
Grant's right. If its arrows don't better the control, then this missile will bomb.
All right, the rocket is loaded.
In 3, 2, 1.
Just as hoped, the launch works perfectly. And then mid-flight, poof, the arrows are released. But the key question here is, how far did they go?
For this test, we have some good news and bad news. The bad news is we haven't been able to find all 10 arrows, which suggests that accuracy is going to be an issue. Now, the good news is that minimum distance they went was 800 yards. That's well beyond the rocket arrow alone, and that means the battle can commence.
Two-stage missiles have been used in warfare for decades. But could they have a far longer history than that? To find out, cue the Fire Dragon finale.
Now it's time to put our fire dragon myth to the ultimate test. We're going to fire 10 rockets into the air, and we're going to see how it does in a battle situation. We have our Chinese army and a castle. We're going to put them out at 800 yards.
If attacking a distant enemy wasn't hard enough,
Good luck, man.
Here we go.
the wind is blowing a gale,
Come on, bring it on.
making this test the ultimate trial by fire dragon.
All right, men, we are going into battle. Ready? Charge!
Come on, charge!
Come on, you guys, charge! What are you waiting for?
With the targets ready to stand and deliver, at Mission Control,
Unveil the arsenal.
it's time to ready the rockets.
So we've got 10 fire dragons, each with 10 rocket arrows inside. And we're gonna call this whole myth based on two things.
Death from the skies.
First, will all second stages fire off? In other words, will the weapon be reliable?
Lead the charge. The golden dragon!
And second, will it take out a significant number of soldiers? In other words, does it have any degree of accuracy?
He's so awesome.
Now for this myth to be confirmed, both those answers need to be yes.
You guys ready to find out if this ancient weapon was a viable one?
I just hope they don't know Kato on the launch pad.
All right, time for war.
With the opposing army half a league away and the hot winds sweeping through this valley of death, it's time for our charges to launch this light brigade.
All right, this is Fire Dragon, the final launch.
The full onslaught. All right, here we go. This is for real. In 3, 2, 1, fire!
Wow is right as all 10 take off. And then,
Oh, it's raining down.
Wow.
Just landing now, and they're landing everywhere.
All right, let's go check it out.
from the bunker, the guys know that 7 out of 10 second stages fired, meaning 70 arrows deployed. But did any hit the target? Well, no.
So we found maybe 40 arrows, but here's the thing. Less than 10 are in the target zone. Some fell early at around the 400-yard mark, but others sailed way beyond the castle to like 1,100 yards. Clearly, the wind didn't help, but as far as accuracy goes, this was a fail.
Ain't that the truth? With not a single soldier struck down, the fire dragons proved fickle.
All right, so where are we with the fire dragon myth? Did it fulfill all the requirements? Well, yes and no. For one, the first stage fired off straight and stable. 2, the second stage deployed, thus increasing the range of the arrows. The problem is that it's not reliable. We had 10 fire dragons out there. Not all of them deployed all of their arrows. If that were the case, you'd see 100 arrows in this region, but we only see 5 or 10. So yes, it's plausible that it might have existed, but is it a practical weapon? No. All right, what do you guys think?
Well, we got them in the vicinity.
Yeah, but they're not accurate or completely reliable. I mean, you might instill fear in your enemy, but it's not practical.
All right, so not really effective or efficient and overly complicated, but definitely plausible.
All right, plausible it is.
That was awesome.
So awesome, let's see that plausible launch one more time.